A warm welcome to you wherever it is you are reaching us from around the world. This is Enterprise Friday, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike.
And I'm Choma Okohe.
All right, without wasting so much time, we'll be heading straight to our newspaper headlines for today to see all that we have from our newspaper desk. And right after that will be conversation also for today. But please do well to be part of our community. Have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. And also you may like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We are honored to have with us today in the studios a journalist, a seasoned journalist and author, Sonny Igbo Anogo. Good morning, Mr. Sonny.
Good morning,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Sonny.
Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you, moderator.
Thank you. All right, so quickly let's head straight to our newspaper headlines today to see what we have. Interestingly, was that from the Guardian newspaper.
Yeah, and on the top strip of the Guardian newspaper, you find more men losing prostate cancer fights to Hefty cause late detection.
Yes, and also on the bottom strip you have Nigeria-France economic pact must go beyond signatures.
Okay, moving on, still on the Guardian, we have local airlines roll out higher airfares for festive peak period. Details are on page 22.
And also we have other interesting stories. FCT delays as governors or OK State Police take a final decision in January.
Okay, moving on, federal government issues ultimatum to developers on Lagos shoreline. Details are on page 22 also.
All right, but let's just take a look at the big story here. More men losing prostate cancer fight to Hefty cost late detection. Sonny, I think it's very important that we look at this. Most importantly, for the fact that as men, I can relate to some of these things already. Even at this age, I'm already being told, I'm already being prepped, okay, for things that are coming in the future. But how possibly do you think we can help solve this problem? Particularly, why is it so recurrent now? In the past, we never knew all of this, but of course with technology and everything, we're beginning to hear more of these ugly stories.
Well, I must say I'm not a medical expert, so I'll just talk maybe on a general term.
Yes.
And from what I know, or from what I have learned out there in the firmament, what I know is that it is part of the type of environment we live in, the type of food we eat, it's the type of thing we do. Our fathers were very energetic. They were not people that sit in air condition. They didn't eat type of food. They didn't eat fried egg. They didn't eat meat the way we are eating meat. So all those are contributory factors. They were farmers. They did a lot of energetic work. They did a lot of exercise. You understand? Yes. When I came here in a car, if I'm going now, I'll go in a car. But if I were in the village in those days, I would have probably trekked to this place. So all these are a gamut of factors that made those things not prevalent then, but are prevalent now.
Very true.
Okay, now you talked about the kind of food we eat,
yes,
which also play a major factor because of the fertilizers and the genetic factors they most times implement based on the modernization of some things. Okay, now when we come to the education of men on this prostate cancer fight, can we say a lot of the health practitioners have actually done a lot of education, or the federal government talking about the health for men? Because on a scale of preference, if we should put the education for women and health, it is more for the women than the men.
Well, I think it is not a function of lack of education. It is a function of lack of reception of the message itself by the men. For instance, I've heard about it several times, but I've never bothered to go and check. So it is not the fault of the purveyors of the information. It is the fault of those who are receiving the information. How far have you taken action?
So is it that you are scared of going to check?
No.
Or you feel it's not necessary?
I don't bother.
Or you feel you have the faith that it won't...
I don't bother.
Okay, you now not bothering.
Yes,
Talking about men generally.
I think it is the mindset of most people that unless that thing comes, you don't take steps. It is only when you are afflicted with it that you take steps. I think that is the laissez-faire, laid-back attitude of people in my own mindset. Yes. And I think it is also very much pervasive out there. Many people think that way.
All right, interesting. Well, let's get to the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay.
Yes.
On the top strip, we have the National Assembly to pass 2025 budget January as Tinubu submits proposal Tuesday.
And also, we have on the very bottom strip here, our children pass through hell to access education, Abuja community. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Even when FCT minister is busy, creating lots of issues, children in Abuja can't even access education. So unfortunate.
Okay, Harry, let me leave that. I don't want to say anything at the moment. Okay, moving on. Senate bars Wike from demolition structures in FCT.
Very true. And also we have on the top strip here, Kano Governor reshuffles the cabinet, drops the SSG, COS, 5 commissioners.
Okay, let's look at the big story because of time. INEC seeks legal backing for IRF. Proposed use of computer-generated slip for voter accreditation. Now, Sunny, let's look at this. INEC seeks legal backing for IRF. Proposed use of computer-generated slip for voter accreditation. Now, this is coming out to be like the PVCs will no longer be existing after the pain, the stress, the money that have been implemented to actually bring about the PVCs. Where is this country headed? In a country where we lack data, can we say this dream of INEC would actually materialize?
You see, I think you have asked the right person this question, because in 2008, I was at the Ghana Electoral Commission of Ghana as a journalist to cover the Ghanaian election in 2008, where the current president of Ghana was elected. Was not elected. He won the popular vote.
That's Mahama.
No, this Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
He won the first ballot, but he didn't get to the threshold to become elected as the Ghanaian president. In spite of the party, the New Patriotic Front, which is their party, being the ruling party at that time, John Kufuor was the president, and under that party, he just needed about maybe 1,000 or 2,000 votes to cross, but they didn't give him. So election is about mindset. It is not the number of laws or number of whatever you churn out. It is a function of your mindset. If INEC had the right mindset, we wouldn't have been where we are today by the virtue of the 2023 presidential election. It was the mindset that destroyed that election, not absence of laws. So whatever they are going to do, whatever they are trying to talk about, maybe amendments, is just a waste of time if there is no correct mindset to implement the election.
Yes, because you have actually said it here. This is more like an old wine in a new wine skin, because it doesn't actually make any difference if we either have a computer-generated slip for that or we do not. Once INEC has made up its mind not to do what is needed, it won't work. But is it possible for us to have a credible election again in Nigeria with the kind of people we see heading some of these agencies?
I don't think it is possible. I don't think. That may sound defeated, but that is just the honest truth.
Why did you say so?
I don't. Let me give you another example using the Ghanaian experience. The current president, after that incident, I went to his house. I found my way to his house, and we sat down. I had a sit down with him, and I asked him, now that this has happened, what do you think will be your fate in the rerun election that will now be between you and Atamios. He told me honestly, he knew that Ghanaians had become weary of voting one party. That is that party had been in power for two terms.
Okay.
And he said that he was afraid because Ghanaians had become weary of voting one party, the other smaller parties that will no longer participate will gang up with the NDC, and maybe that could lead to his defeat. And that was exactly what happened. So in other words, he wasn't boasting that we are in power and we are, as it would happen here. If the scenario were reversed and it were Nigeria, what we hear is that we are APC, we are PDP, and we are going to win. But he never told me that. That was very shocking to me. That somebody in the ruling party that had all the advantages to become, in fact, it would have started from his president. From the president John Kufo, making sure that leaving that threshold is a little thing, is a small thing. We'll just dash him and then ask him to go to court. But it never happened. Look at the man who had everything to win, sounding so almost defeated, because he knew that was what the mindset of Ghanaians.
Because they believed that
They believe in
that the election is of the people.
in the process. They believe in the process. If you are a politician in Ghana and you are driving and you splash water on somebody, the person will just show you his thumb. And you have to reverse and come and apologize to the person. That is how elections won.
Exactly.
In the whole street, in fact, when I came, I checked into my hotel from the airport, checked into my hotel. Because I came late, I came on the eve of the election. I was in my hotel, disturbed and worried. Am I going to move the next day? Am I going to move the next morning? Because I have not done my accreditation. So in the morning, I woke up very early. I called the hotel reception. I said, how am I going to move? They were wondering, what are you talking about? I said, because today is the election, there will be no movement. They said, what do you mean there will be no movement? I now opened my window and saw cars in the street. You understand? So it is all about the mindset. It is not about laws. It is not about rules. And when I went to the Ghana Institute of Journalism, where I did the accreditation, there was no problem. It was seamless. I did the accreditation, moved into the street with my camera and somebody, my assistant that was going with me, came to a polling booth. We are taking pictures. There was no single policeman with a gun. There was not even a single policeman. What I saw were some ladies dressed, I think they are prison warders or what they call prison officials. One of them came and approached me and asked me, why are you taking me? Can I identify? I said, I'm a Nigerian journalist. Oh, okay. I took photographs, did everything, and I went to India. Cars were moving, people were moving, everything, but you cannot. Of course, there were violence. Of course, in every election, there must be some level of cheating or something, but it was not the issue. It was not the issue. So, unless we replicate that in this country, and to do so, you must have people in the executive that will turn away there. Of course, it's almost impossible. Because here it is a do or die.
Exactly. Very true.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, finally, let's move to the Punch newspaper for today. And we have on the very top strip here, imported petrol landing cost drops to 900 naira per litre.
Okay, moving on, states please to the NEC. NEC resumes talks. January, governors submit reports.
All right, we currently have local government autonomy. A federal government threatens a contempt suit against errant governors.
Okay, moving on, federal government issues 1 trillion naira Sukuk bond to fund 124 road projects.
All right, so let's talk about the main talking point here. INEC to phase out PVCs, plans the diaspora voting. We just finished talking about it on the last paper, and I feel it's still important that we maybe talk about it now also. PVCs or no PVCs, but more importantly, we are, after a very long struggle and fight, they are considering diaspora voting. What would that change?
Well, elsewhere, you have the diaspora voting, like in the US. You know, you saw how they did it seamlessly because they had data of everybody. If you started with that, for instance, in Nigeria, how many Nigerians, most Nigerians that live abroad, so many of them are not even captured in any data because many of them moved with
Illegally.
Moved to the country illegally. So how are you going to do it? How are you going to capture them? See, so it is just frantically doing something to see, that to give people impression that you care or you want to work, you are working. No thrashing around. You understand? The elaborate movement to please people. Stop subterfuge. Not by acting. As I said earlier, it must come from the mind. It must come from the mind.
Now, what if INEC is having a change of mind and they are wanting to do things differently?
It's almost impossible because INEC is not the only one. You're not the only one. You see, in 2002 or 2003, I forgot it. We were at a conference with the same INEC team at the Radisson Blue. We had this meeting, and the person that invented this the what do you call it now, the beavers and other, he gave us a blow by blow explanation of how these things worked, and we are all on all fours with him. We believed it was going to work, and it did work in many places, and that was the reason why people were so elated about the 2023 presidential election. But you know, 6 months to the election, they transferred that guy. They removed him. And that was the person that built the entire process, that put together the entire structure. They removed him, put somebody else. Why would you remove somebody that had the pin drop?
Knowledge about
the way you removed him, put somebody who probably is a novice in that area. What are you trying to achieve? And it was done by INEC. Or do you think that INEC did that?
With the people
on his own volition. Somebody must have pressed button somewhere. So this thing is a potpourri. It's something that stretches beyond just one person.
Very true.
So if nobody, in my own way, I may not even blame the INEC chairman. When you are in shackles, when you are in bondage, there is nothing you can do. And you know, every public officer in Nigeria has something they can show him. If you have been a public officer in Nigeria, or even a businessman, you have something they will show you. And you become...
You just hibernate. All right, people. Thank you so very much, Sonny Ibuanugu, for being part of our show for this segment. Just to let you know, he will be here to take us also on our main conversation for today. Yes.
And when we return, Nigeria leads in global malaria deaths, 39% among children under 5. We'll be right back. Just stay with us.
All right. Can we continue?